Hello, and welcome to the Uplifted Hand. Today, Today we're going to go over Job 38 through 40 and 42.
I got to pack because I procrastinated, so
You won't be here.
enjoy the message.
Okay, this is the moment we've been waiting for. Job 38, 1 through 7. We see that Job asked why the righteous suffer, why the wicked prosper, why injustice continues, and most of all, where is God? Then the Lord answered Job out of a whirlwind. God himself finally speaks. And after all those questions, we're expecting an explanation. But instead, God asks Job 1. Where wast thou when I laid the foundations of the earth? What? Like, what do you mean? Why are we suddenly talking about creation? Because God is about to take Job somewhere much bigger than we can imagine. Now in Job 38, 8 through 41, and 39, 1 through 30, we see God asking about the sea, about the morning, the depths of the earth, snow, rain, stars, then lions and ravens, wild animals, horses, and eagles. And at first this seems completely unrelated to Job's suffering until we notice what all these questions have in common. Job doesn't know the answers. There are places he's never seen, creatures he doesn't provide for, things happening every day completely outside of his awareness. And God knows them all. And that's why Come Follow Me invites us to look at God's creations here. God hasn't told Job why. He's showing Job there's so much that you cannot see. And that raises an even bigger question. We're now in Job 40, verses 1 through 24. If Job cannot even see everything God sees, can he govern everything God governs? God brings Job back to justice. Can you humble the proud? Can you bring down the wicked? Can you save by your own power? Then God points to Behemoth. This enormous, powerful creature is something Job can see, but he can't control it. And God says, Behold now Behemoth, which I made with thee. God made Job. God made Behemoth. And something overwhelmingly powerful to Job is still simply part of God's creation. So the question becomes, Job, if you cannot govern even this, can you see enough and control enough to govern everything? Job is beginning to understand the scale of what he's been asking. And now he responds. In Job 42, 1 through 6, we see Job say, I have uttered that I understood not, things too wonderful for me, which I knew not. And there it is. Not my suffering wasn't real, not my friends were right, and still not, now I know why everything happened. Job is now realizing there were things I could not see. And Come Follow Me connects this to Moses, who saw God's creations and suddenly understood how limited his own perspective was. And if Job couldn't see everything, his friends certainly couldn't either. So God turns to them. In Job 42, 7 through 10, we see that God tells Job's friends, Ye have not spoken of me the thing that is right, as my servant Job hath. After all of the chapters of Job is suffering, therefore Job must be wicked, God himself says that they were wrong. And they tried to explain why Job suffered when they simply just didn't know. Then comes this incredible reversal. The men who thought Job needed to get right with God are told to bring offerings. And then Job prays for them. But there's still one thread we've been carrying that needs to come home. Before we enter Job 42, 5, and then 10 through 17, we have to remember Job 23. Oh, that I knew where I might find him. And we got to remember Job searched forward, he searched backwards, he searched left, he searched right, and he couldn't find God. But even then he said, He knoweth the way that I take. And now, after the whirlwind, we hear, I have heard of thee by the hearing of the ear, but now mine eye seeth thee. There it is. Okay. The God Job had been searching for came to him. and afterward, Job's life is restored. But the deepest resolution that happened before his circumstances changed is that Job encountered God. And now I'd like to just look back at Job's journey. In the ashes, he said, "Yet will I trust in him." Facing death, he says, "I know that my Redeemer liveth." When he couldn't find God, he says, "He knoweth the way that I take." And finally, he says, now mine eye seeth thee." Job didn't receive the explanation we might have expected, but through every loss, every question, every argument, and every silence, he kept turning toward God. And Come Follow Me leaves that question with us. When I cannot understand what God is doing, what do I already know about him that I can trust? Yet I will trust in him. Thank you for listening to The Uplifted Hand. We'll see you Sunday.